This is now my new, hopefully also be my good or bad it's going to. I think when we get around 20 mark, I'll have a look. I just managed to crack the 50 on the playtest yesterday. Hopefully it's saved that. Hopefully we'll push on to the 50 again on auto. Break the team down later. This will be my first run on it. So 220-ish. I think I need to be around 25 mark. There we go. Down there. I think we're looking good, aren't we? There or thereabouts. So I think 220 is sort of the halfway mark. So we want to be sort of pretty much there. Going to be close. Might have to stop it here and just see how it goes. Just see how close it's getting. On the 30 with a minute and a half to go. There we go. Next time he's down this time. How much get done while he's down? There we go. Mid 40s. Where are we? 43, 45. 45 as we get to the halfway mark. Cool. 7, 9. Oh, we've cleared it. Have we? Get in my first 50k run. This is it. Oh, 50k blood. Ah, oh, yes. Happy days. Happy days. 50k blood. Full auto. Ah. How do we do with damage? Let's have a look. Get in. You're an absolute beast. Absolute beast. Thank you very much. I rebuilt the team yesterday and we just go into how we rebuilt it and how we ran it and that sort of thing. We're going to have a bit of a play test on the stuff and have a look at things going, but got our achievement. There we go. Let's go and claim that. It was the first run I'd ever done on Nightmare 4 and getting the 50 in one hit. So looking forward to my first chest tomorrow. Not the first time I've ever got that chest, but it'll now be a regular thing, which is going to help the account progress. So how did we do it? This is a damage that everyone done. So I essentially use 4 damage dealers, and they're the top 4 there. Silas comes in and Twin Thing comes in. They're not really damage dealers. Silas comes in as I rotate Laurel through and Volker, because I may as well have someone down while Silas is on cooldown. So that's when I use Silas. He only gets used for, I suppose, 50% of the fight. Twin Fiend is there mostly for Lord skill and that those debuffs he brings. Now that means I've got 4 support type heroes. So I'm using Volker more in a support role. She's helping me get more laurels out, and then the more times I get her out, the more rage I get, and therefore the more ultimates I can get. So that's the idea there. Dolores there, we just want her inspiration buff going on. We want that attack on everyone as much as we possibly can. So that's her job there, and Hollow's there as well to aid in the healing, because we do need some healing, and also she's providing that rage regen for us as well. So that's essentially team makeup. Now I could have probably done 50k a lot earlier if I put the effort in, but I didn't, and I suppose I'm quite lazy about that really. So that is what it is. Right, now the team itself, so that's Twin Thing, that's his gear there. I mean, the gear I don't think is terrible. It's not the best you're going to see in the game by any stretch of the imagination, but it's not terrible gear. And then I do try and get people crit capped. I failed a bit on him. He's quite short, but he's not my main focus of dealing damage. I have got him done as an A1. I found that quite important because he brings out vulnerability as well. So on his A1, so I have made sure I put a soul stone into him to get his A1 done. Right, next up, Zillitude. She absolutely smashes this. Really does. I mean, she's up there a long way ahead of anyone else and their damage. She is very fast, and her crit damage is about 300. Her crit rate probably a little overstacked, but there you go. And then this is her basic attack. Now we'll come back onto this in a minute because it is quite important that people are aware of how and where you place her. So she deals 100% damage to one enemy, 120 if you've got it fully skilled up. If you're trying to push 50k, then you probably are skilling up all your champions. And that's the damage she does, and it includes airborne units, which is nice. The important part of this is the last sentence. Block targets take 20% more damage. That's really, really important to know. So we need to make sure she's blocking targets. So we'll come on to that and do a quick show and tell at the end. And then that's her gear that she's got on. Nocturne, I do love Nocturne. I think he's a fantastic champion, really good, does that burst damage, absolutely fantastic. If you pull him, really congratulations to you. I think he's a really, really solid hero. I think he's not game-breakingly good, but you can use him, particularly if you're progressing through the game, skill him up. Yeah, I don't think you'll regret it. He's absolutely fantastic. Yeah, good, solid champion. Dolores, okay. When you're building your Dolores, what are you looking for? First thing you want to look for is to boost her attack. Now her ability that we're after is this inspiration. So the inspiration increases attack proportional to the caster's attack. So the amount of attack she's got is granted, and in hers it's 40%. So it's 40% of her attack while this effect is active. Other buffs affecting the inspiration will not take effect. Additionally, the caster is immune to such buffs. Right. So it's 40% of her attack she puts onto other heroes or other allies in range for 22 seconds. So you want her attack as high as you possibly can. So on all her gear, we are looking for attack percentage on there. Okay, that's your first go-to. So you want attack percentage. Then after that, you want attack percentage and attack. So you can boost a little bit more. And then when you're looking for items, you want attack percentage main stat and then attack secondary stat. And then if you can, a little bit of rage regen is not going to go amiss, so you can actually cycle through this a little bit quicker and get it back up as soon as you can. So this gear isn't the best piece of gear for it. It's fairly good, but we've got attack percentage there, we've got attack there, I could do the attack being higher, and we've got rage regen on her as well, which is nice. And then this piece, attack percentage attack can do it being higher, and rage regen's rolled quite well for us. So that's what you're looking for in Dolores, but start, depending on where you are in the game, you can start much further down. You don't have to go for invigoration. So her artifact attack increased by 5%, so it's maxed out for level 25, so we get a maximum attack on there, and then it increases attack by 5%. And rage regen also increases by 50%, so really good artifact for her. I really do like it. Now the other thing that can change your run slightly is there's a little bit of RNG that goes on. Where is it? Here, yeah, this passive here. So 50 seconds after being deployed, permanently increases basic attacks healing multiplier by 5%. Yeah. Graceful Dance will have a 50% chance to increase the hero's rage by 300 when it ends. So the Graceful Dance is her ultimate. So when it ends, it's a 50-50 chance, so you'll get another 300 rage out of that, which is a third of the rage she needs. So that can mess with your run, how quickly that is coming around and how often. Particularly if you're very close to the mark, you may want to notice or have a look at how many of those 50% actually go in your favour. So you might do a run where not many are going in your favour. You could be well below the 50% mark. So you may wish to do the run again if you're only a little bit short of the target you're aiming for, because your Dolores has this passive that's only going to give you a 50% chance of that extra rage, and that extra rage may be a few more inspiration buffs, which is another 40% of her attack on all your heroes, all your allies that are doing damage. So bear that in mind when you're using your Dolores. Sectram, there's his gear, he's just another DPS. Yeah, got a DPS in there. There's his gear. That's essentially it. He's not in the best gear that I've got. That's saved for others. Got to use a Lord skill, so there he is, Archer Lord. Yeah, he's absolutely fantastic. If you haven't got an Archer Lord and you're using Silas, you may want to consider putting in one of the Epic Lords or something like that to actually go in there. So give that some thought on how you're building your team up and where you want your DPS and your Lord bonuses to come from. So you don't have to hit the 50,000 mark to start with. A lot of these things can be used just to get you to that next chest and help you progress that a little bit more. Even when you hit the 20k chest, you might want to push so you're at 25 plus. So those days when you do your daily login and you get the extra room to have another run, you might want to make sure that you're on the 25k plus so you can 2-key this. So bear that in mind. There's Laurel done. Silas says his gear, it's relatively good gear. Bear in mind he goes quite quick, his crit rate is there or thereabouts. Crit damage isn't the highest, but crit damage is more important on the guild boss because his defense is quite low. In other bosses like Guild Boss 2, you might want to think, well, actually I'm going to have more attack because his defense is much higher. So that would be something you'll have to consider later on as you're playing through. Laurel, we don't need her for gear really. She is there to supply with her talent. Now her talent gives a rage buff to everyone when we pull her off. So that's what she's doing. But bear in mind, her talent is only those allies surrounding her. So if you have a look up here at her range is bigger than the allies surrounding her. So by surrounding, it means just those 8 tiles directly around her. It doesn't mean the additional 3 in range. So watch out for that, or if you're confused why she's not working for you, it will probably be that. Again, she is there solely to do that, and she's there to supply an inspiration buff. That's why she's got invigoration set on, the invigoration buff, sorry. And we got Volker. Now Volker is there again as support. She's helping me get more laurels come round, and she is there for the invigoration buff again. So she's an invigoration set. Now I have tried to put attack percentage and crit rate and crit damage on where I can, although some of the pieces are absolutely awful. Okay, so it is what it is. But she gets 2 million damage, so maybe there's room for improvement there. But who knows how far we can push it. So. There we go, and then we've got Hollow coming in afterwards again, invigoration set. She's actually a healer for me, so she is got speed in the middle because I want her to actually heal up stuff, and then she's got the orb here so she can increase people's attack speed as well, which is handy when we're trying to get as many attacks off as possible. So that's the team makeup. Now the next thing we have to worry about is how we place people down and where we place people down. So before I forget, let's do Zilitude. So hopefully place Zilitude down, and hopefully we won't get the skull. There we go. 47, fairly regularly 47k. Okay, that's what she's hitting for, and that's because of where we place her on the boss and all that sort of good stuff. She hits for 47k. Right. Let's place her down there. There we go. Now we're hitting for 54, nearly 55. So place her all the way up. Don't place her fully back because you're going to miss on that increase that she's got on her attacks. So make sure where you place her is quite important. Now the next thing we want to go into is just where and how this invigoration set works for us. So if we challenge again, we've got our 4 DPS. Now we need to make sure that we place them in the correct order. So the invigoration set comes along and buffs people. It will buff the person wearing it and gives a 10% buff to a random ally. Now the random ally is someone who hasn't already got the buff on them, so they can't have the buff twice, and they automatically get it if there's an invigoration set on. So you can push this to work in your favour. So what we do is we place our hero down. Hero goes down, then we place an invigoration set down. There's the invigoration set gone down. There we can see we've now got our buff on our hero. So we then place our next hero down there, and then we can place our next invigoration set down there. There we go. And now Nocturne, there we go, we've got the 10% buff as well. So we want our next person to have it. There we go. So he's down. You can see no buff on him, and then going to place across there. There we go. Now he's got the buff on him. Remover, still got the buff on him, so that buff keeps going after you remove someone. Okay, so now we place down our last person to go down for me is Setram. Now he's not written there. There you go, get in the right place. And the last person to go down is Laurel. So when we put Laurel down there we go. We can now remove her. And a couple of things will happen. So Setram now has the buff. Zilitude now has the buff. Nocturne has the buff, and so does Igor. There. So everyone we want to have that buff, our DPS has now got it. Like I say, Twin Fiend isn't there to be my sole DPS, he's more there to supply these debuffs as well going on. So that's what his job is. And then I just motor through as many of the ultimates as I can, and as quickly as I can. I try and keep that going for as long as possible and keep Dolores' inspiration buff up for as long as possible, and that's the plan. I'm doing as much damage as I can. Now you may need to change how you do ultimates and where you trigger them with regards to the shield. I'm at a stage now where I don't have to worry about the shield. I can just trigger ultimates and we will get the shield down anyway. But on my global account that's much younger than this, I do have to worry about it, and I'll probably do a few more videos on that as we push through to see how we're doing on it. But that account I do have to worry about where I use my ultimates and save them up for a shield, so you may want to consider things like that. But that's the essence on how to build up a basic team on the guild boss and how I did my first 50k. So I hope you found this helpful. If you've got any thoughts or what you're doing or how you're working, or if there's anything else you want to see, please drop down in the comments below, and I'll see if I can do a quick video to help you out. Okay, thank you very much for your time. Cheers, goodbye.